I guess on my hair, she look all right. And with that actually sitting there like this creams, and I had to have them, sis. All 5 of them. Here, I just had, we're gonna discontinue it, but I had to pick up their book of shadows, honey. Color grade makes cheap fan, expensive breeze, good times. Wow, so serious. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's Torrence here, and in today's video, I'm bringing you all a special tutorial. One of my favorite brands ever, meltcosmetics, released a palette, and even though I went in knowing that Color Story did nothing for me, like, yeah, I don't want that. I'm a completionist and I had to have her. So today we are talking about the Gemini 2 by meltcosmetics, baby. Now, first off, that packaging was like, yes. But if you know me and if you've been watching my videos for quite a while, you know. I don't do pink tones. I don't do red tones, honey. They scare me. I don't find them as flattering on me as I do on other people. But meltcosmetics said, honey, she the sister palette to Gemini 1. And you know Gemini 1 used to be your favorite palette of all time. And I'm like, you're right, I might have to go ahead and test her out. And baby, as you can see, the look here is absolutely gorgeous. But we're not here just for the tutorial. A lot of y'all like to know, Torrence, do you recommend that palette? Should I go pick her up? And you know I'm gonna always be honest with y'all. So if you wanna know exactly how to achieve this look and my opinion on this palette, you're gonna have to wait to the end. But first, we gotta go ahead and get into these swatches. First off, let's get into this packaging. She is stunning, and as you rotate her, you can see the gold trim along the flowers is shimmering in the light, and I think that's absolutely beautiful. Roses are some of the most beautiful flowers in the world, and with these, they left no detail unturned. They have different hues, different tones, and honestly, this would make a gorgeous tattoo if you ask me. On the inside, we do have a mirror, but I'm trying my best not to blind you with it. We have 10 beautiful shades. Just like with the original Gemini, there are 8 mattes and 2 metallics, and I'm excited to try this one out. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of pinks, the fact that this has some additional greens to it really piques my interest. See, Mel, that's what I'm talking about. Look at these colors. As per usual, all my swatches are done one time over no primer, and when I tell you, the color variation on this is stunning. When you look at colors in a palette, a lot of times you're always wondering, how is that going to reflect on my skin tone? And I'm here to tell you, baby, you can see a shade variety in every color. All 10 shades look like completely different tones, honey. And I'm just in love. It's like, baby. I know I'm not the biggest fan of pinks, but the one thing I like is being able to create depth and dimension in my crease, and to know that this palette has transition and crease shades. I'm excited. So no longer waiting, honey. We are about to go ahead and prep our lids so we can get things started. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and get things started. As with all tutorials, all tools and products used will be in the description bar below. So if you ever want to know about anything I've used, just make sure you check there. Also, baby, I need to be getting things going because even though I'm not technically racing, I know I have a live later on tonight. That will be at 7 o'clock. We 2:17, so we do have plenty of time. But I still want to talk to my family and friends later on because I completely forgot I had to record today. Took Thanksgiving off to sit back and chill, even though I did a live. But I want to make sure I get this up in time because this is the Gemini 2 palette, honey. She's new, and when she launched, I was like, I don't know what's inside, but I got to see it. I know I love Gemini 1. I already have a tutorial up for that. If you want to see that, check her out right here. But once we opened her up, I'm like, hold on. Pinky tones. You know I don't do those, Mel. But I got to admit, the color variety is cute. And I'm sitting back telling myself, like, Torrence, I'm I'm not sure what kind of look I want to do, but considering I have pinks on one side, green on the other, I'm like, think of a flower, a nice pretty rose. Usually they're pinky reddy tones on the top, green for the leaves and things on the bottom. So I think that's what we gonna do. That's gonna be my inspiration in my head. But I'm sitting there like, what we gonna start off with? And just because I wanna be all soft and cute today, we're gonna take our largest, fluffiest blending brush, and this shade here, Ladylike, it's the second matte shade, and we're gonna use that as a transition all over the crease, simply because I know I'm not the biggest fan of pinks, and to me, she'll come off much softer than the one before her. And baby, lately, this one braid been hanging out and getting in the way. I ain't mad that my hair is growing, I'm just mad that you wanna interrupt. So we gonna hold her up while we get into these shadows. And simply because I don't know what this pigmentation is like, we're gonna tap off the excess because we can always come back in for more. We're gonna start on the outer end and buff her all the way through. I wanna keep my brush low in the crease, and yes, ma'am, I'm already appreciating that pigmentation on that color there. I'm gonna just buff her up and out, and I can already tell I'm gonna want a second layer just to see how deep she gets. But that color on that shade there, baby, look, before I even blend her out, you can see that on camera just like I can, so you know that's a pretty color there. But I don't want that harsh line right there like that, so we're gonna buff her up and out. And I'm starting to notice that the more time I spend on camera with you all, the more comfortable I get with shades that I usually would not trust. You all know I'm not the biggest fan of oranges or blues. Pinks and reds don't do it for me either, but lately the more I try them, the more comfortable I'm getting with them. And I must admit that some pretty looks are coming out of it. This is building up on that second layer, so I'm appreciating that. It's just this one spot right here where the bone is for me. I usually have to make sure I spend a little more time blending right there, just so that everything is soft, and she is gorgeous. I know a lot of people could take a color like that, put her all the way down and keep her moving, but I'm not the biggest fan of pastel shades, so we'll do this on the other side and I'll be right back. Honey, that transition shade was beautiful, and I want to go a little deeper, but I know I'm going to want to go deeper than that afterwards, so we're going to take things slow, and we're going to go up to this shade here, Himalayas. We're going to use that with a slightly smaller blending brush, and we're going to use that to deepen up the crease. Now baby, she picked up real easily, so we're gonna make sure we tap that off. We're gonna start this on the outer end, and just like before, we're gonna take this throughout our entire crease, keeping this low. And baby, before you can even diffuse it, just waving that past, you can already see that we have some definition going. So I know this is gonna build up beautifully. I'm gonna take this low into the socket, and I want to just rock this back and forth until most product comes off the brush. We just want to build things up without covering up our transition shade, and then you can just slightly lift it to diffuse those edges. And when I tell you that blended out real fast, like the pigmentation is there, so what we're gonna do just to see if she builds, baby, you gotta be careful because that shade is soft and pigmented. I'm gonna go in with one more layer just to see if she's gonna give us more color. Yes, ma'am, she's building. Okay, Mel, I'm seeing y'all. I wanna raise that just to diffuse the edges, but not cover our transition shade. And baby, she good to go. Simply because we're here and I wanna see how dark things can get, we're gonna take our smallest blending brush in this next shade here, LX Queen. I'm gonna use this and we're gonna put just enough to deepen things up. We do not want this color to take over. Baby, just like with Himalayas, we need to tap off that excess because we can come back for more, but I do not want this little bit of color to turn everything a different color. We're just gonna start this lowest part of the crease, outer end, and see what she does. Yep. Before I can even blend her out, you can see that this side is darker than that side. Baby, so keep your brush low in the crease with this color. You want to build that up. At first it will create a harsh line, but once you're confident that there isn't too much product on the brush, you want to slightly raise it in the crease to diffuse it. We don't want to erase it because we want to make sure that the darker lid color we're going to put in has contrast. But baby, we are not doing a second layer of this because look at the definition that first layer gave us. Ain't no doubt about it that this side got more definition than that side. Be right back. Now it's time to squeeze this glitter adhesive, baby. It's all the way up here now. I'm gonna finish this NYX glitter adhesive before the end of the year, I promise you. And to get a step closer, we're gonna get some of it out now. We're gonna grab our Morphe M421 brush and we're just gonna coat the entire lid. I'm not worried about no cut crease or anything. We just need everything to be covered. And I like to get close to the lashes first because that's the area I always seem to forget. And then we're just gonna cut our, I keep saying cut our crease, but we just wanna cover our lid, stick it straight in the socket and rock it back and forth. I'm not worried about it being a perfect half circle or anything. My main concern is getting all of the lid covered without covering up that darkest crease shade we put down. Now it's time to put on the lid shade. I know normally I like to go in with 2 to 3 shades, but we're gonna keep it simple today. We're gonna go into this shade here, Smooth, and we're gonna coat the entire lid with this shade. All right, we got her here, and I must admit, this shade is a little dark. So even though I don't like pinky shades, I'm hoping this one does something for me. So we're gonna take this and we're just gonna pack this on, and I wanna see how much pigmentation and color I can get with this one layer before we go back in. And the first thing I can tell you is the shift on this color is beautiful in person, but she is coming off much more as, I would say, a satin shade over a true metallic or foiled shade. So if you are someone who was looking for an extreme, an extremely creamy, an extreme high amount of shine like a highlighter, I don't think this shade is going to do it for you. But as far as pigmentation, I was able to get the whole lid coated with that. Go in with just a little bit more just to see if she builds. We'll put her in the... Okay, it appears she does build, but because she's not metallic, like I said, she's much more of a satin. You're only going to get so much shine even if you build her up. But the pigmentation is amazing. The fallout is minimal. And she's cute to me. I wonder if you all are getting that shift that I'm seeing in person right here. Alright you guys, this is all we're going to do for the top of the lids now. So what I'm going to do is cut away, finish off the face, and when I come back, I'm going to show you how we're going to finish off the lower lash line. Alright you guys, we are back, and before we continue on, I want to tell you about a few of the things that I use off camera, but I got to remind myself. In my last tutorial for Gemini 1, I talked and talked and talked for I think about 12 minutes. We're not having that today. We're about to get straight into it. First off, most of the face is the same as last time. All products be in the description bar below. The only things that I'm going to tell you about are the things we switched up. First off, for lips, have a sample that I received of their liquid lipstick in the shade Rebound. I think all of the liquid lippies that I have from them are metallic. This is the first matte one. I must say, extremely pigmented, extremely creamy, goes on like a dream. But when she dry down, you know for sure you have a matte lipstick on. She's not offering any cracking or any extra texture or anything because I knew to hydrate my lips beforehand. But this is not something you want to put on top of dry lips. I can't tell you about longevity or anything because she's been on less than a half an hour. But the color's cute. And I had completely forgot I had her, but I went over to my melt section and I'm like, okay, let's see what lippies we get. So we pulled her out. For highlighter, Gold Ore. This is, I think, probably the only highlighter I have from them where it's like a true highlighter. The rest of them are like blush lights and things like that. Bought her because she was my shade and she had that beautiful embossing. I wanted to get closer so you all can see that because I've been using this thing for years and I try to only use the bottom half to make sure I don't mess up that decal. and she's gorgeous. If you love Oh Darling from MAC, dang near the same color. I think this formula is a little more sparkly when you first try to put her on, but as you buff her out, you can see the shine is beautiful on this highlighter, and I absolutely love her. For blush, technically this isn't a blush, this is an eyeshadow. In this palette here, Gemini 2, I was looking and I realized they got a shade right here called Lovesick, and I'm like, I remember the shade Lovesick because they have a Lovesick stack before they got into palettes, baby. Oh, those of us who know and love Melt remember the stacks. I have them all, and this was their Lovesick stack. It came with 4 different shades, and I don't think I've ever done a tutorial with this one, but it came with this first shade, Promiscuous, which is a shimmery purple. Fixated, which is a matte gray. It has some blue undertones to it. We have Emily. I don't know if it's Emily or Emily, but I think it's Emily because it has a peachy reflex shiny shade. But the last shade is Lovesick. Baby, I know she is not my complexion, or she doesn't suppose to suit my complexion as a blush, but as somebody who doesn't mind taking the risk, I went in with my blush brush very carefully, took and put the tiniest amount on because I wanted something that would just help accentuate the color of my shirt as well as the eyes and the lips. And I'm like, I don't want anything true red or pink, because this shade was in the eyeshadow palette. I'm like, you know what, she'll be perfect. I truly recommend her for darker complexions, but she builds up beautifully because on my tone, if I would have did too much, she would have definitely looked like a bruise. Last, anything else? Oh, eyeliner. I knew for this look, I kept telling myself, like, Torrence, I don't recall you having a red eyeliner or a pink eyeliner. Those are just not my colors. So I'm like, get you a green, but I always use the same 2 greens. Overdrive and Electric Empire from Urban Decay. I got 2 drawers right here full of Urban Decay eyeliners. Those are my favorites. But I'm like, switch it up. You always use those. You're trying to find out about new products. Went to my eyeliner drawer over there. Completely forgot. Overt by Marc Jacobs. Got it. I bought this right before Marc Jacobs discontinued everything. I'm like, I had already had the black one and I don't know where it is. I can't find it and I'm so upset. But the only other one I grabbed was this green one. And now I wish I would have grabbed a purple one and a blue one, but we can't, you know, dwell on the past. But while in that drawer, look what I found. It's about green eyeliners I had never used. I got 6 of them right here. These is from NYX, from Sephora, and from MAC. The NYX and the Sephora are permanent. That MAC one is limited edition, and he duo-ended green and blue. And I'm like, you looking for more greens and blues, and you never tested her out? Not only that, but some yellow tone greens I found that I never used. Got these right here, so I'm like, we need to put all of those out, put those down. And speaking of blues, I know I've used my Pat McGrath blue one. I know my lip bar one has been used. My other Juvia's Place, the Royal one I used. This Nubian blue, I don't recall ever testing her out because I thought she was black by how dark this tip is. Nope. But I'm like, we're going to put those over there as well as with these. This is the Jean-Michel Basquiat blue. Never tested her out. I bought her for collector's purposes, but we might have to get her in use. But I know I've used this Pat McGrath one. I just don't remember what she liked. But we're going to leave all of those sitting right there. Anything else I forgot to mention will be in the description bar below. But we need to finish up because, honey, the lower lash line ain't going to do herself. And although this is supposed to be a red tone look, and I know that we did greens last time, I really want to test out a variety of colors for this formula. So to continue on, we're going to smoke things out with these green shades. I'm going to take a larger pencil brush, and this shade here, Almond Eyes, we're going to use that as a transition shade. Then we're going to take a smaller pencil brush, and this shade here, Boy Mom, and we're going to go in with that. If we feel as if this is too dark for Boy Mom, then we'll just take a push liner brush and use that. 2 things I know. 1, these shades are pigmented, so we're going to tap off that excess on Almond Eyes. The second thing is, I tend to get a little more pigmentation on my lower lash line than on the top, so we're going to go in extra slow. We're going to start on the outer end, and we're going to connect that, and we're going to work up toward the front. I just barely need this color to show up. And even though she's not coming off as a, you know, complete neon green, she's coming off much more grungier here. I am seeing her. I'm going to wait till I do this first layer and see if she shows up on camera for you all. And I think you can tell there's more smoke going on this side. I don't think the camera is letting you see it as a green because she is rather dark. But we're going to build her up a little bit more because I want a little more smoke on this side. If you're not comfortable with your blend, start on the outer half. Because I'm okay, we're going to start on the inner half on this second layer. And baby, she's truly coming off smoky on this lower lash line. Connect it on the outside. Bam. And yes, that original color Almond Eyes is dark enough on the lower lash line. Ain't no point in taking a pencil brush and blowing that out. So we're going to take our push liner brush with Boy Mom, and we're just going to use that. We're going to take this from the outside, and we're going to press that right up against the lashes. Ooh, baby, she is pigmented. Oh my. And because this brush is so tiny, I will have to dip more than once to cover the entire area. But this color, baby, if I would have put this on a pencil brush, she would have definitely took over. We're just going to get that all the way up to the front. And I'm trying to see if on camera, yeah, she definitely looked darker on this side than on that side. Now it's my favorite part of eyeshadow, highlighting my inner corners and my brows. The thing is, we only have one shimmer shade left, this shade here, Mateo, and I'm sitting back like, okay, Torrence, I know I want to put that there, but she's a rather dark green. So if it's not giving me the shine I want, we'll just top her off with our face highlighter. Yeah, sis, I'm looking at this on the brush. I'm like, she looked cute on the brush, but I really think this shade is going to be dark, but we still going to go in and just put her down and see what she offers. I'm going to put her here first. Okay, that green is cute. I can definitely see that it's green in person. It looks like it has a slight gold reflect, but considering the fact she is a dark green, let's see if you all can pick that up there. I don't think she's going to be lighter than my complexion because she's darker, so she's not going to give us the shine we want. So we're just going to put this down on the inner corners and then top her off with our face highlighter. Can't hold the palette, you know, down for that when that was my fault going in with a really dark green. But baby, we're going to let her shine regardless. All right, we have gold ore now, and we're just going to put this on top of that. I want to try my best to just brighten this green and not take over. Ooh. You see how that little bit of highlighter gets it to catch the light? But in person, you can still see that green peeking through. Okay. That's what I'm talking about, Mel. And then whatever product we have left, we're just going to sweep this right underneath the brows. And baby, I don't have to ask if that's highlighting my brows because I can see that right here and I know that's showing up on camera. Yes, ma'am. Alright, you guys, this is all we're going to do for the face, but there's no point in putting in all this work unless we're going to lock it in. So grab your sprays because you know I'm about to grab mine. You ready like I am? Let's go ahead. Fix Plus to give us the glow we do. All nighter so things will last all day. Cheap fan, expensive breeze, good times. I'm going to give this a few more seconds to dry and I'll be back to give you all my final thoughts. And here's the final look. I want to go ahead, give you all a full face view of things before I give you all my final thoughts. And I'm here to tell you all, if you like this palette and you're wondering if I do, actually I really do. I'm telling you, I'm sitting back like, wait a minute, Torrence. You ain't never been one for pinks or reds. To me, pink shades are very beautiful, especially on someone, say like a bride, a first date, things like that. I think they are stunning. reds to me have always just been shocking, dramatic. Like the way I love purples and greens, but everybody else seems to think that's over the top, is the way I look at a red as being over the top. Because anytime I see red on my face, the only place I feel safe with it is the lips. And that's with a red lipstick. But the idea of red around the eyes has me wondering, is that irritation? Is that sensitivity? Did you bruise? It's very rare that I wear a red eyeshadow. But being on YouTube has gotten me a little more comfortable with it. And I'm sitting back like, Torrence, this is so beautiful. Now, is it the most loudest, dramatic red I've ever worn? Absolutely not. But to me, this is like the perfect way to get a neutral lover to try red eyeshadow, in my opinion. And I'm really, really enjoying her. And I keep looking down because it's like, baby, I'm going at it from different angles. Like, you really have this color on your face. It's just shocking. But y'all know I tell everybody, unless you make a palette yourself, there's a pretty good chance you're not going to consider it perfect. Everything has its pros and cons, and I feel the same way about this palette. So let's go ahead and get into it. First off, pro. This packaging is beautiful. She is stunning. She's nice and thin, so it will be easy to store her. On the inside, the color story, you have 8 mattes and 2 shimmers. As someone who prefers mattes, because I like to build up my crease and things like that, I love that. Anytime I look for a palette, I generally prefer all mattes over shimmers, or an all matte or all shimmer palette. I don't see the point of giving me 3 mattes and 9 metallics, and then I'm sitting there looking like, so basically I'm just switching up lid shades every day, that's it. With this palette, it's different. It gives me a variety, it gives me pinky tones, and not only does it give me transition and crease shades, if I wanted a nice pinky matte shade, I have one here that I can use because it's lighter than the one that I use for my transition. Also, another pro is the fact that these pans are removable. Y'all know I love singles. I love creating my own custom color stories. So to know that Lorelei, one of the founders of Melt Cosmetics, comes from a professional background. When they first launched the brand, you could not remove them. Even when they used to have these stacks, the stacks were individually removable where you could take one color away from everything else, but you could not get this little color outside of here. You had to keep them stored in this large thing, and they had custom palettes for that, which I have one of, but many people may not have been comfortable with that, and this was a ton of product, honey. Each color is, according to this, 3.5 grams. 3.5 grams of product for eyeshadow. So you never had to worry about going through it. With this palette, of course, the pan sizes are smaller, but to know if for any reason I just wanted to pop this shade out and this shade out, put them in a custom palette, I can do so. Now, for me, the cons are, how can I put this? I personally don't care for reds and pinks like that. So stepping in, it was like, yes, sis, I don't know if it's worth my money. But because I love Melt Cosmetics and I'm a completionist, I had to have her. So what I would say is, if for any reason you don't like pinks and reds, let's say you've already tried them, you've tested them out, many brands, you know you don't like it, there's no point in even looking at this palette. But if those tones are for you, she's good. Another con is, to me, I really wish instead of just this one dark shimmer shade here, they would have probably taken this shade here and made her a very light shimmer. Although this color is beautiful on me, you saw with this palette, I personally prefer shimmery highlights. It does not offer you that. These two shimmers can only be used on the lid. They are that dark. I don't even see them being used as transition shades in an all shimmer look. And that also goes the same thing for these greens down here. Everything with these greens is deep, deep dark. For me personally, This shade here, she's beautiful, but only good for the lid. This shade, Almond Eyes, she's so dark, I personally think you can use her in the crease and as a transition shade. So I would have taken Boy Mom and made her either a lighter shimmer or like a lighter green shimmer or a lighter red shimmer for this. So for me, the cons is you don't have too many transition shades. Like for the pink side, yes. For the green, absolutely not. But if you wanted this palette going in, knowing you're gonna get a deep dark look, you're gonna love her. It's just those who want something for the everyday professional means, you're probably only gonna get a matte look out of this. I don't see you being able to wear smooth on an everyday basis and being able to be satisfied with being able to create multiple looks. A color like this is gonna stand out no matter what match you put with her. So I see this more as an afternoon palette or for the girl who just really likes to step out of her comfort zone and really do darker things. But I would not offer this, say, to my little sister because I know she likes neutrals. I know she likes to keep it basic, simple, one coloring out the door. So to me, she's the perfect companion palette, especially if you have Gemini 1. But if you were to ask me, Torrence, do you recommend this palette? Yes. Every shade is beautiful. They all work. I didn't have any issues with any of the shades. The only thing is you're not going to have any light shimmery shades. And to me, I just really wish they would have either gotten rid of the greens and expanded this pink color story or given me a lighter green to lighten things up. But I like her. I'm going to keep her. And I'm not sure if that sale is still going on. But I personally recommend that if for any reason you want Gemini 1 or 2, please sign up for emails, alerts through Melt Cosmetics. They always have bundle deals going on for these palettes that I never see at Sephora. And I know across Black Friday, I even posted that on Instagram and Facebook. They had Gemini 1 and Gemini 2 and a bundle for $50 when individually they go for $58. I have all the palettes, all the stacks. I don't mind paying full price. I personally wouldn't mind paying full price again for this palette. But if you were to ask me, Torrence, do you recommend her at full price? I'm going to say not necessarily. I would just pick her up on the sale just simply because Melt always has a sale. Sephora usually has a sale. And unless this is your type of color store where you like deep dark reds and greens, get her at full price. Otherwise, that 20% off sale, she's truly worth the money. And I hope you all truly did enjoy this tutorial. If you did, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Also, leave me a comment down below if you have this palette. If not, let me know if you've ever tried Melt Cosmetics. I'm someone who loves them. I hope they continue to release things because, baby, every time they come out with something else, it either shocks me or I fall in love all over again. And I know everybody finds things a lot easier with these palettes, but baby, my old school heart really wants to pull out some of these stacks. So please leave me a comment down below letting me know if you all wouldn't mind if I did any tutorials with my older stacks. I'm not 100% sure if they even still sell them on the website, but I will check because I haven't seen them in a while. But it's just, when I sit back and think of the memories I have with this purple shade, it's like, come on, honey. She is gorgeous. And to know I used this one here as a blush today, it makes me want to go through my collection to see which other shades I have from them that can use as blushes. But I don't want to spend all day talking like I did in the last tutorial. We're going to hurry up and wrap this up. So, I just want to remind you all, I love you. I've appreciated all the love and support that I've had from you all. Because this will be the last tutorial that goes up for the month, make sure you all stay tuned because I will do a rankings video featuring all the palettes that I did in the previous month. Just wanted to give y'all a sneak peek on that, so make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you also hit that notification bell because many people have been telling me that the notifications are coming through better for them. Remember, once upon a time, baby, you didn't even get it at all. But things are looking up, not only for the channel, but for me as well. It's also looking up for us because, baby, those numbers are going and going and going. I got some good news from my doctor earlier, so it appears I'll be able to bring more tutorials for you all. But I just told myself we're not going to keep blabbing. We're going to end this video here. So with nothing else, I hope you all remember to practice, continue to stay blessed, and until next time, goodbye, YouTube.